Hey guys, welcome back to ShredMentor Live. I'm your host, Jason Aaron Wood, just barely getting ready in time for this. Anyway, tonight we're going to be doing some fun stuff, which is totally not what it says on the screen. So let's go ahead and fix that. That's not what we're doing. That was last time. So let's change that. Sorry, really just barely getting ready in time tonight. That's what it is. Sliding sweeps. Let me do a quick sound test because, as I said, I'm really kind of just flying by the seat of my pants here. Kill the speaker. That's good. Yep, and I already have a pick there. Good. I'm in tune enough. I might actually be a little bit out of tune tonight because that's just how much I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. But this will be cool. Let me know in the chat that you can hear me. Hey, Mike. Good to see you tonight, man. Sounds muddy. Damn. All right. So let's try. Thank you for letting me know. I might be able to do a little better right there. But if that doesn't do the trick, well, let's see. Let's see if that's any better. Because right now it's cranked. That's as high as it goes. So, yeah, let me know. All right. I am actually going to be tuned a half step low tonight. I'm at E flat standard tonight because I just wanted to play my EC 1000. And so that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Now, there is a quick thing I want to call your attention to. And you know what? Let's see. Real quick, before I knock my drink over, I'll actually put the lid on for once. Did that during a lesson a couple weeks ago, and that was really fun. I also have some on-screen stuff to share with you here, and part of that's going to come down to making sure that it's displayed properly on the screen, and there we are with that. So, yeah, let's do guitar practice tools. It's really just so I can share this. What we're actually going to be working on tonight, though, is it's sort of an extension of the different sweeps that I've shared a number of times, and you'll actually find them. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will actually find this in the description. In fact, on Facebook as well. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm a lot closer to the mic now. I was a little far away here. Let me move over a little bit too, so you see me. Actually, and that's probably part of the problem. Because I'm going to hit the window with my guitar neck. See, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. Sorry, guys. Hopefully the guitar is coming in clearly enough. A lot of tonight, I'm not going to be using the backing tracks, but I will have this up on the screen in case. But what I want to show you tonight is actually some screenshots from the PDF that is free. You can get a copy of this yourself. There we are with that. I would call your attention to page 13, or if you want to see the scale degrees, page 12. Okay, but this is the 21 21 sweep patterns every guitarist should know free ebook. So go ahead and click on that if you haven't already. You know what? I'll just to do you all a favor here. I'll also throw it in the chat so it'll also display on screen somewhere in here. Ha. ShredMentor, where the hell? No. ShredMentor pages, that's it. This is the page you'll see. So you go to that, and it's actually a pretty long ass URL. But anyway, good. I'm glad that's better. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. There we go. Okay, so that is. Yeah, Restream. That's me. I'm ShredMentor, but I'm also Restream if I use the thing right in OBS here. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at then on the screen is this page here, okay? And we'll go back and forth between pages 12 and 13 here. I'm going to be mostly using minor arpeggios to illustrate each pattern. I'll leave the scale degrees on there first because really, I mean, this is a good indication of what fingers you might use, and this is what we're going to be building on. So if you are still just tackling sweep arpeggios yourself, that's fine. This is going to be an advanced sweep arpeggio lesson, not meaning that there is, frankly, this is just more advanced than that. Okay, I'm going to clear the air right now. Okay, real talk. being good at anything, it's just being familiar, okay? So you want to build on these essential foundational shapes that are on the screen right now first, so that you can get familiar with them. But then what I'm going to be doing is actually just extending them to tie them together. All right, so these are different inversions of the same arpeggio, the same 3 notes. I think I used E for everything here as the root note, so these are all E minor, no matter what. So everywhere you see number 1, that's E. Everywhere you see number 3, that's G, and everywhere you see number 5, that's B. Okay, that's what you're looking at here. The reason we're using numbers instead of letters is because it doesn't matter what key you do these shapes in. The shapes stay the same. You can just transpose them to other keys, and the hierarchy of the harmony they'll basically make the same sounds in another key. So that's why we want to use scale degree numbers and not the letter names, because the letter names may change and make it seem like it's all this information, but it's not. These are the relationships between the notes. That's what makes them arpeggios. Okay, so this also tells you where you are in the scale, by the way, because that's what an arpeggio is. It's sort of playing leapfrog every other note. And I'm going to be using triad arpeggios for pretty much everything tonight, but I will throw in additional scale tones to show you how you can use these in different creative ways. So I've got actually only 7 different patterns, but I'm going to flesh them out a bit. And in my standard fashion, I'm going to talk a bit. Okay, so I'm not going to do all these from E, okay, but let me just pull up my list here, so I'm doing it in the order I planned here. Okay, so the first one here, okay, it's probably going to be closest to this shape right here, this first inversion shape, but instead of this being down here, picture this as just a bar chord. In fact, I'm going to do it down here from A minor. This is something this is a shape that I picked up from Andy James in some video ages ago, frankly, and I kind of ignored it for like a year or two, and I'm like, no, I remember that now, let's try it. And so actually it's not, it's a mixture of this one and this one. You basically would play the root down here. Okay, pretend I'm at the 5th fret instead of this being the 12th fret here, but I would play this, and actually, you know, it's like sort of this section here. It's like a combination of these 1, 3, and 5, but I'm going to play it a string lower. Okay, that's going to be right here, 1, 3, and then I go up to the 5, 1, and I play the 3, and then I'm going to slide up 4 frets right here, and then I'm going to pick it up from here, the 5, the 1, the 3, and the 5. So it's a lot going on, but just watch my hand. I'm going to do basically A minor. Oh, I'll call it A minor. It's A flat minor, but A minor, Baroque A minor. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, slide to 5. 1, 3, 5, and then you come back down. So 5, 3, 1, 5, slide, 3, 1. No, sorry, 3, 1, 3, 5. 1. Major from the same starting point, just so you're not thrown off. You would raise everywhere that you see note 3 by a half step. Oops. Old habit. Back to minor. Okay, that's shape number 1, basically. All right. What I like to do, by the way, when you're creating or learning new sweep patterns, I strongly recommend, I urge you, honestly, to count how many notes there are so that you can figure out what kind of a rhythmic context the most obvious kind of default accenting should be, so that you can have this happen with a rhythmic feel. We don't really want to just be like, how many notes is that even, right? So I'm actually accenting it. I hope it is coming through. It might just sound like I'm playing it with or expression or something, but what I'm really doing is I'm kind of palm muting here and there. There's a slide, so there's a little variety of textures going on here anyway, just based on the techniques I'm using to access the notes. But I counted this right away. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, that might seem like, 9, that's a multiple of 3. I should probably do triplets, right? Wrong. You can, but what I see is 8 up and then 8 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. This is 4/4 waiting to happen. This is 1 measure of 16th notes, 2 measures of 8th notes, however you look at it, but this is 4/4 kind of built right in. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and all right, so that is the first one there. Okay, you're kind of dealing again with. In fact, I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. It's sort of this power chord. Again, it's sort of like your A minor bar chord played from the E string. Okay, so 5 7 7 5 5 5. Okay, but you're adding in the 8th fret, so you pick hammer on, and then 7 7. And then 5, but instead of continuing across 5 for the next few strings, you slide up to 9. Middle finger hits the root note there, and then you have a 3rd and a 5th. That's basically the 2 notes you slid between on that string are the 2 notes you're going to play on this string at 8 and 12. Middle finger, first finger does the slide back to 5, and then you're back in the other position. Now, one other note I'm going to give you here about the accenting is to pay attention to what finger plays the accenting. Walk through the whole pattern slowly once you've counted through, like, okay, this is probably 4 sets of 4. That's sort of asking to happen. You can re-accent it in another way, which I'm going to show you for the second shape. But what I would recommend is always practice the default, most obvious accenting first. And in order to do that, so once you've counted out what number the final phrase actually works out to be, the full rhythmic phrase length, it's 16 in all, but it's 9 different notes up and down. That's a sequence. That's in the book of sequences, in fact. But, which you can get at ShredMentorOnline.com/products, by the way, for $10 for the ebook. 108 pages, loads and loads of vocabulary. But anyway, 4s, all right? Well, we've established it's 16 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's the note I started on, so that's not 17. That's 1 again. Okay, so that being said, 16 is 4 times 4. Let's count through what happens if we count it as 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and okay? 1, that's the first accent. 1E and 2. First finger again. Slide to E and 3 E and so the pinky note gets the third accent. 3 E and slide. That's 4 E and so that's a tricky accent right there because that note is supposed to get the accent on the way back down too. Remember that was the note that we played on the way up with an accent too. 1 E and 2 E and except we're picking it on the way up. We are not picking it on the way down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and right. So the tricky part there is to slide really deliberately and kind of instantaneously right on the beat in order to trigger what at least registers as kind of an accent. You could throw another pick stroke in if you want, but it kind of kills the neat multi-textured vibe to do that. So it's up to you. All right, but anyway, just in its default form. All right, anyway, and that's it in action. Okay, so let's move on to our second shape. It's actually the same shape, but we're going to do something different. Since I just talked so much about how to determine what kind of accenting to give it so that when you play it, it actually feels like music instead of some noodling exercise where you're just aimlessly wandering around the fretboard. I came up with a pattern using this. I did a little bit of extra stuff, and I'll show you what I did with it. But I actually started with my criteria just being different accenting. Since I already knew this as a pattern that kind of asks to be played with 16th notes and 4/4, I purposely went out of my way not to play it that way and decided to go with triplets instead. And I kept going, I kept lengthening it until I could get it to be exactly 8 beats worth of triplets. So 2 measures of 8th note triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay? I will start it from the same place. Okay, it's the same shape. I only added 1 additional note as far as the map on your screen, okay, or well, the combination of maps. I didn't actually do the diagrams for this, so sincere apologies. I wanted to, but I just didn't have time this week to do that. And I spent most of the time preparing for this, being able to play these damn things. So just practicing to make sure I do it. This one I've known for quite a few years, so it's not particularly, it's not outside my realm of familiarity anymore. But the new one, this here is something I just did last week. So all right, so a couple things I threw in there, okay? It's otherwise, all right, on the way up, it's just basically the same exact notes and the same technique, but I'm accenting it differently because it's only 3s, not 4s. So my accents land in different places. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It's basically 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. That is root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth. That's what the arpeggio is, right? Root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth. That's what happens when you play a triad with triplets, is the same note of the triad in every octave ends up getting the accent. Unless you add another note in, which is going to happen at some point, right? Oh, good. I'm glad that helped. Thanks, man. All right, so this is me taking advantage of the fact that the pattern really does contain 9 different notes. I knew right away, well, that's actually going to work out great on the way up. Triplets. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Great. Now I got to figure out what to do to make up 5 extra beats, because that's only 3 beats of triplets. I'm not even halfway done yet. I want something that works in 4/4 with triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is where I kind of went. All right, this is the extra note I added in. I added the 2 of the scale. And I'll talk about that little extra rhythmic thing, because it's basically 2 16th note triplets thrown in there. So I'm doubling up the triplets. Oops. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So it's kind of a 1, 2, and 3. And then I come down to the root note. And that's, so far I'm changing one extra little thing here by adding basically one extra subbeat in there. I'm speeding up just for 1 beat's worth, or 1 triplet's worth. So I'm throwing 2 notes into the space where I would have had 1. And I'm using, But what I do here is, instead of proceeding back down, I actually double back and go higher and descend again back through that note. So 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I go back to the third. 3, 2, 1, right there. 6. And I use my first finger here because of that slide. So even though my hand is actually closer together, my fingers, I'm not, I could have gone. It's a lot of extra slide. I didn't really want more sliding. I know it's the topic of the show tonight, but I didn't really want to slide again right there. It's just messier, just a little messier. It's only a half step. So as slides go, it's not going to be that messy. It just was harder work than I needed to. So I know of an easier way, which is that. Bring your first finger over, back to 9 to sort of reset the fingering so you can slide. But that's not all. I didn't just descend all the rest of the way. I doubled back 2 notes again. All right, so let me walk you through that part again. Okay. Fake out, descend, reascend. Back again. Okay, so all in all, it's 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, I have a hard time, especially if I mess up in the middle of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right? That's actually not where it started. That's actually a modification. I actually did a major one playing off of the Lydian mode first, and I was like, ooh, and then I did it. I was messing around with that and Mixolydian, which are modes right next to each other anyway. They both have a major pattern, so there's only one extra note, which is the added note, which is actually a little different. That part is actually different in this than the other two that I did. So I'm going to show you them too. I'll show you the original one. So first fret, this is an F Lydian. Again, I'm half step down, so if this sounds like E on your guitar, tune down a half step, or just try to remember, play it separately and block me out after I explain it. So instead of doing that, I use the note in between these notes instead of the note on either side, like the note below the lower of the two. All right, because here I did two notes. Here I did so that's it's much easier on the hand, to be honest. I don't have as much weird stretching. I didn't have to do that where I have to jump back over here and reset to the first finger the same way. It's a lot easier. It all just fits right under the 5th position for that little part of the shape. My first finger's already there. But basically, once you get to the note, your middle root note in the middle octave, which is on the 4th string, you double back to the higher note. So it's basically the two notes you're sliding between. After you get to the next string, you go and play them again with one hand, with two fingers in the same position. All right. Same thing from the next position up, from G, except that this won't be this shape, it'll be this shape, but we'll also be up a whole step. So you can roll there, except there's a pull-off there, so it's a little tricky. You could use a separate finger, which I think is what I was doing when I finally worked it up to a higher speed. Yeah, I find it easier to just tuck another finger back there. I like to do pull-offs with the fingertip. I really don't like this. I don't avoid rolling technique, but if there's going to be a pull-off after it, you can kind of do it. It's messy, and it doesn't feel like I have as much control, and I want to play with the most control possible at all times. Okay, so that's one thing I would remember. Control is a high priority here. Again, this is all kind of based on the Andy James shape that I showed you as shape number 1. This is all shape number 2, basically. This is a longer version, so this is more like a way to apply it in order to, in this case, achieve a more triplet feel. I want to use this in a triplet situation. Now I can. All right, so let's take that over to Guitar Practice Tools for a moment, and we are on the wrong beats, as you can see. This is the 4/4/16, so let's do the triplets. And I'll take a little easy today. I think I'll do 120. So yeah, now you see how it works. All right, so that's shape set number 3. I wanted to show you some major and some minor stuff on that. Again, major and minor, when it comes to just try out arpeggios, the only difference is that in the major shape, you raise the half step. You raise the third by a half step. So in the major, the third is always a half step higher than it would be in the minor equivalent of the same arpeggio. So in A minor, you have a C. In an A major, you have a C sharp, but it's A, C, E, or A, C sharp, E. That's it. That's the difference. A higher third gives you a happy sound. A lower third gives you a sad sound. All right? I want you to understand why you're playing what you play, as well as just what. I don't want to just show you color by number stuff. That's what everybody else is doing. And that's why this seems so damn hard, because they're not giving you the goods. I tend to do the opposite and give way too damn much. So anyway, though, if you are trying, I will just note this now, though. If you are trying to tackle sweep arpeggios, this is the place to be. You are at ShredMentor Rock Guitar Academy. This is totally what I specialize in teaching. Soloing is the top thing. And when I started this show today, when I was over here, it didn't say sliding sweeps. It said improvising guitar solos, because that was the last thing we talked about, and that was the basis that ShredMentor started with. So if you're looking to improve your soloing, or specifically your sweep arpeggio playing and your technique in general, go to shredmentor.com. Set up a free consultation with me. There's no obligation to sign up if it's not right for you, but if you have some goals and you're having a hard time getting to them, don't try to reinvent the wheel. That's not the wise way to go. There are direct ways that you can get a lot better than you'd think you would, a lot faster than you think you can. So let's talk. Set up a free appointment with me, and we'll talk about a half hour to an hour. I want to get a feel for what it is you're trying to do, see what it is that you're doing, and there's a good chance that working together for at least a few months, you're going to be a lot further along than you would have been. So go to shredmentor.com right now. Go ahead and fill out the form on that. Just click on the link anywhere on the main page and go to that. Tell me all about what you want to do, but only click on the link right now. We got more to talk about tonight. Let's talk some more sweeps here. Let's go back to the Guitar Practice Tools sharing page, just so we have those on the screen. Now, yes, the third shape. This one, okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to another page. If you're looking at the PDF, like on your own computer, which I hope you have it now. Let's see. I'm going to go. Okay, I'm going to start. This is actually going to be a C major 7. Okay, but it's very similar to what we're looking at right here on page 10 of the PDF. Okay, what I'm going to be doing, you see this nice, convenient 5-3-1 thing going in a nice diagonal line from the 7th fret to the 8th fret to the 9th fret. Well, let's just go another fret down, another string down here, 10. All right, we're going to start at the 10th fret of your 4th string. All right, this is one of the few places where just playing one finger per fret across 4 strings in this nice kind of shape actually makes a really nice sound. And so we're going to play off of that a little bit. This is something I came up with maybe a year ago, maybe even a little bit more. Actually, I think it was possibly up to 2 years ago. But anyway, this was a fun one. I was just messing around with this exact topic, sliding and hitting more notes. This one's going to involve a little bit of tapping, though. Okay, so here's what we do. Okay, a C major 7. Okay, even excuse me, even though right now on the screen E is listed as 1, that's actually going to become 3, and the note listed as 3 is going to become 5, and the note listed as 5 is actually going to become 7. Okay, so because C is now a new root note, so this is not these numbers do not reflect the hierarchy of the harmony anymore. So let's just look at the fingers instead, because that's mostly going to stay intact, but I'm going to do a couple extra things. This one is also more triplet friendly than 16th note friendly, and I feel more coughing going on, so rather than subject you to that, let's do that. Okay, so keeping in mind, all right, I'll get that more in the center of the screen here. Okay, this shape right here. Let's even just zoom right in. Okay, that right there. Okay, I'm going to also add my pinky right here on the 10th fret, so you can see those fret numbers and the little gray numbers above. Okay. Now, when it comes to sweeping, you want to get the most bang for your buck, which is the best economy of motion, which is we want to do all the notes we possibly can with one single motion, not down, 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 down. I'm not chugging power chords here. I'm not going to do a separate motion for all those. I want to just fall through the strings with one motion, or at least the 4 strings I'm going to play. So I actually recommend just doing what I'm doing right here for a little while if you have any trouble doing this. Now notice that I'm not letting the notes ring. So as soon as you get to the next string, lift the finger on the beat too. So you exchange fingers. I know it's going to feel a lot more secure to just anchor your fingers, but that's actually going to make a big mess of the sound, especially if you are using any amount of distortion. On a clean guitar, by the way, it won't sound bad, and if that's how you want to play on a clean guitar, go for it. But that whole thing about always practice on a clean guitar, bullshit. Don't do that here. On sweep picking, use distortion, because you need to actually, that's how you gauge whether you're doing the technique correctly, and if you have your timing of exchanging fingers correct or not. Okay, so we don't want to, you actually need to be able to hear that messiness, so keep the distortion on for this, for all of these exercises. All sweep picking. This is the difference, okay? This is a C major 7. Okay, 7 means the note right below the root note. So it's C. So this note up here is 7. That's B. So here we're going to slide up a half step to the C. Major 7 is the note immediately a half step below the root. So okay, so that's one thing we're going to change about this. You know, aside from the pinky note here on 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, slide to 8. Not a lot of sliding going on here. I am going to hammer onto the note that says pinky on this string. Okay, which is an E. This is now the third, root third, and I'm going to tap on the next G. That's at the 15th fret. All right, so you can, by the way, do all that picking right over top of the area where you're going to be doing the tap if you know ahead of time you're going to be tapping. There's no rule that says you have to pick down here unless you need to palm mute. Then you need to get your ass over there. But otherwise, slide. All right. You could do this with anything, though. I like to start with an easier one, and I mean, I'm not going to pretend that's easy. It's got some extra stuff built into it, but you could just go, you know. I like to start the whole thing on a downstroke because, once again, I want to take advantage, full advantage of the sweep and get as many notes in that movement as possible. So all 4 strings, as I ascend the first 4 notes, should be one downstroke. Which means that this will be an upstroke, and I'm going to jump in order to... I don't like to do inside picking within sweeps. Sometimes it's a necessary evil. It's not like you never do it, but I try to avoid it on purpose. You might find it easier for yourself if you do it too. All right, so just getting used to that. I know it doesn't have the slide in there, but just getting used to that. All right, so get used to every little portion of it too, because these are the things that might trip you up. All right. So anyway, that's basically that. This is one of the only 7th arpeggios I'm really going to throw at you tonight, but it's very friendly to the hand, and in my opinion, it actually sounds pretty. I'm not a big fan of I don't like minor 7ths. I don't know. It's just not a sound I really want in my music. It's essential to a lot of blues stuff and a lot of rock. It's just generally the part of rock and blues I don't really care for. So I don't do a lot with it, but it doesn't matter because that technique could be totally used for like a minor 7. So let's see. Let's make this. I'll start with a C and just do a C minor 7. Root minor 3rd. 5th minor 7. Right? It's fine, you know, not my typical style, but it's a perfectly fine thing. It's got its own pretty kind of very distinct quality. That's what a minor 7 sounds like. So you can do this with anything. Notice that I kept the number of notes per string the same, so that I could basically I could apply it to the new formula from the scale degrees that are being used without really having to think it through too much. All I had to do was basically look, what is the actual recipe for a major 7 versus a minor 7? So minor 3rd, minor 7 instead of just major and perfect degrees. Root, major 3rd, perfect 5th, major 7. That's what a major 7 arpeggio is. A minor 7 is basically a minor chord, so a root, minor third, and fifth, with a minor 7 on top. So, anyway, that is also, once again, if you need any brushing up on your theory, or if you feel like you're getting lost in there, you're not alone, obviously, but I guarantee you that music theory is a lot easier than it seems, or let's say it's a lot less complicated than it seems on the surface. It's a little complicated sometimes, but I guarantee you that it's not as complicated as it looks on the surface. So if you're getting tripped up on any of this stuff, I guarantee you I can make it a lot easier for you. But this is more of a fun get-together on the live stream, so I'm not going to be doing that tonight. But I'll tell you what it is I'm doing, and we can certainly work on anything where you need to clear up on your, on your theory knowledge while applying it in, making your own music if you want. So again, for that, go over to ShredMentor.com, click on the link, fill out the form, tell me as much in detail as you can about what you specifically envision for yourself doing, and then we will meet for a free consultation, and I'll tell you what I can do for you, and we can work out something that works for both of us and gets you where you want to be a lot sooner. All right, let's move on to another one. Okay, so that's like a 4-string sweep with some extra notes. So actually 4 notes on the first string. In fact, I think I'm going to take this moment to sort of just readdress a concept that I don't really ever hear anybody talk about, but I think it really comes a lot, honestly, from dealing with sweep picking, is something that I think of as note layout. Okay, and it's just like what it sounds like, how the notes are laid out on your fretboard in the pattern that you're going to play. This is what makes something sweepable. Okay, sweep picking and economy picking sort of run on odd numbers a lot of the time in order to continue going in the same direction. 1 note per string, 1 is an odd number, so sweep picking is economy picking. You're just doing it in one sweeping motion because you don't have to turn around. Otherwise, economy picking includes some amount of alternate picking. Unless you do like legato, which is what the sliding and tapping is sort of doing too. But for the most part, regular, when most of us think about economy picking and what sets it apart from sweep picking, it's basically, are you doing any alternate picking per string or not? The odd numbers, though, keep you picking. If I do down, up, down, 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 down, up, down. That's all odd numbers. 3 notes per string, that's odd, down, up, down, down, up, down. Then I can drag through. If I do an even number, it turns me around, down, up. Now it comes back up, right? So sweep picking and economy picking are essentially the same thing, though. So back to note layout then, okay? This note layout, for the one I just showed you, is 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So 3 strings of 1 note and 1 of 4, okay? And I'm actually not even picking any of, after the first note here, I'm sliding, hammering on, tapping, pulling off, pull off, slide. The next 2 pick strokes are just upstroke, upstroke. So I'm just going to drag through them and jump over, down, 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 down. No more picking here, up, up. But anyway, it's 1, 1, 1, 4 is what I would call the note layout from ascending to descending. That's usually the order I do it in. I try to come up with sort of a naming convention for it so it makes sense and we can use it as a language. But that's sort of, this is a 1, 1, 1, 4 note layout for a sweep. And the note layout often is the thing that makes something sweepable. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of introduce that. When I talk about note layout, I'll bring it up a couple more times here. We'll kind of look at that because that's sort of like the anatomy on the fretboard of that sweep shape. Hope you're all still with me here. Let me know in the chat if you're lagging behind. No problem, dude. Luckily, we are live, but this is always recorded, so you can come back here. And Mike, I know we actually talked a while back about the Total Artist Development System. I don't know where you are with things, but this is available to you through that as well. All of these are on basically the same page anybody would be watching it on, which is shredmentoronline.com/live, except if you're not logged in or if you're not a member, you don't see all of the old episodes. But if you have all your old emails, you might still see it. Anyway, but yeah, major and minor together, essentially, that's sort of what happens in chord progressions anyway. So I'm doing your comments in the opposite order here, but yeah, I mean, I like to deal with what I think of as the chord progression strategy. So that when I'm practicing these things, I'm not just dealing with modes, but I'll actually purposely try to create a chord progression out of it, in addition to generating a constant, consistent, clear rhythmic feel. So immediately is a lot more musical when I'm doing it, and I'm practicing the kinds of transitions between chords and arpeggios that I'm probably going to need in real life anyway that way. So I'm encountering real life challenges that are going to become motor memory as well. So the familiarity with not the shapes, but the movement between the shapes, which is the invisible challenge that usually trips us up. Awesome. Still here. Good. Glad to hear, man. Okay, so let's go back to the list here. Okay, so this is a fun one. Let me go back to our diagrams, and I'm going to bring us down to the minor standard sweeps. Okay, that's the 5-string 7-note sweeps here, and I'm going to be extending this a little further. We're going to be using that one right there. I'll just put it huge on the screen for you, okay? And that's actually exactly where I'm going to play it. I was doing A minor for some of these because I needed a little bit more. I don't know, I just like that position. Doesn't matter. You can do it from anywhere that you have enough frets to do it in. I'm going to start this way. This is exactly what I'm going to play. And since the diagram doesn't actually indicate, I'll tell you what. I want you to be able to see everything I'm going to touch here. I'm going to add some notes here at 15 and 19. So this is going to be like a 2 1 1 1 4 progression, okay? Or not progression. I'm sorry. 2 1 1 4 note layout. Sorry, not progression. That's not at all what it is. It's just one arpeggio. It's not a progression at all. Despite what I said about the chord progression strategy, I'm not using it in this particular one. Not for this shape anyway. Okay, so I'm just gonna play this shape in its entirety. Now, normally I would use the fingers shown. Okay, that's the recommended fingering for this shape, kind of in general. In fact, this is one of the few shapes where there's not really a lot of alternatives, because if you use any other, I don't know any other alternatives really, but if you do anything, if you try to use your ring finger, oh crap, I don't have enough fingers to play. So you kind of have to use your pinky here, and have to use your ring finger here, and you have to use your middle finger, because you're going to need your first finger here. So there's not really any other options unless you are a mutant or the six-fingered man from My Dying Bride, from Princess Bride, the other bride, My Dying Bride. There's a six-fingered man in that. No. Anyway. Okay. So instead of the pinky, I'm going to slide to that note, and then I'm going to hammer on. I'm going to just keep going. Root third, fifth, root third, fifth, root third, fifth. Oops. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9 notes again. We talked about that on the first shape. 9 notes is 8 notes up and 8 notes back. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Notice I'm hitting some wrong notes here because this is the challenge right here, and this is a little bit of a newer one to me because I just made it up for the sake of this show this past week. And I just made another one up about 10 minutes before the show when I should have been, getting ready for the show, like preparing to actually broadcast it. But anyway, part of the trickiness of this one is that you're covering an entire octave on one string. So you need to sort of like, we tend to be in like tunnel vision. So we see like that much of the fretboard, maybe that much of the fretboard, right? But you need to sort of like, especially as you start getting higher and higher on the strings, you need to sort of broaden it. So this and this, you can go from this shape from here to here to here, slide, and immediately move up your eyes from 7 to the entire range from like 12 to 19. That is part of what's really tricky, and it's going to get worse on the next example, but let's work on that one a little bit more. So you kind of have to anticipate you're going to need to broaden your peripheral awareness right up there so you can see that. Plus 3 frets, plus 4 frets. Slide 5 frets down. So that's also a tricky part. It's a little bit of a wide interval, right? And it all has to happen kind of really quick. You can also do the same thing with major. But then it's going to be 4 frets, then 3 frets. The slide is still 5 frets, by the way. Minor. All right. So anyway, that's that one. Okay. Well, out of 7, that is. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5 is that again extended even further, and we got to do something a little crazier for that. Almost the same idea all the way through the sweep part. It's the rest of it that gets a little harder. Now it's going to actually be 10 notes total, which is actually 9 notes up and 9 notes back. So now it is kind of triplet friendly. So that's actually the accenting I'm going to use. All right. Mind you, the original shape without any sliding added to it. Very, very triplet friendly right out of the gate. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? So that, all right, we're going to take that, and instead of going and doing only 2 notes with the fretting hand and then a tap note, we're going to play that note with the fretting hand too. So when you slide 5 frets, you not only need to be able to have your eyes there, but you need to have your fingers there too. Because we're going to go up to you need your 24th fret for this. So if you don't have 24 frets, do it from D, assuming you have 22 frets. If you only have 21 frets, you're going to have to do it a little wider stretching with C sharp and tap, because you're going to need your absolute highest fret to do it. So there's only a couple of different keys you're going to be able to do this in until the stretch starts to just become unmanageable. Which will, your mileage may vary, depends on your hand and how well you do at stretching. Once again, I have some tips for that can help a lot. So if you're already my student or thinking about pulling the trigger and finally pushing yourself to become a lot better at the guitar, once again, go to ShredMentor.com. I can help you with all this stuff here. But I'm kind of walking you through some of the challenges that hopefully, I mean, if it hadn't occurred to you to do these types of shapes, it also you would not have encountered these challenges. So that's part of the thing, is you don't even encounter the material to get yourself more advanced until it occurs to you to do something more advanced, which might not happen if you haven't already. So it builds on itself. It's very cyclical, So if you as you get more advanced with your technique, you can then imagine things that you wouldn't have imagined before, but then you also encounter new challenges, which you then overcome and become more advanced, and you can imagine even more difficult things. So it just, it snowballs and gets, and you get better and better in the process. But I want to walk you through, this is basically what I do, by the way, in my lessons. A big part of what I do a lot of the time is I'll give you something with a built-in challenge in it, and I won't tell you what it is, and I'll let you, trip over it in a sense on the fretboard, and then I'll work through the problem solving with you. So see what happens. What do you think is what's the best way to do that? What are your options? What finger could you use? What technique might you want to use to make that possible? And it depends on the situation, but that's sort of what's going to happen here, right? So I'm going to do it from E, but if you have a shortage of frets, less than 24 for this, just move down that many frets to start. That's what that is. That right there, you might want to spend some time just doing that. You can kind of do that for a while too, because that in itself is also a triplet phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you might do that and then tap 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. Yeah, it's a little hard on the way back there, right? It's hard to get your place in the pick there if you try to go too fast too soon. So now you're going all the way from the 5th of the scale, from the 7th fret, all the way up to the 24th, or, so almost an octave and a half. So there's a lot you kind of have to get this under your fingers first. That's sort of what I'm doing. I slide that, I watch the 12th fret, then I slide, and I just do the hand shape, kind of motor memory, because I need to get my eye to 12, do the shape, and then get my eye to 24, so I tap the right fret. And then once that is there, all my fingers are in place, I look down at the 7th fret while I'm still up here. As soon as my tap finger is at 24, look at 7. Pull off, slide, put your finger back where you're already looking. That's the trick to sliding technique, by the way. Maybe I should have said that at the beginning of a whole episode about sliding within sweeps, but it was slower, but it was also flawless that time. So anyway, that's the trick to it, by the way. So, you know, doing a little bit of motor memory here, but getting your eyes to where your hand's going to need to be before you get there. Not following it. No, that's not where your eyes should be. Your eyes should always be ahead, just like driving. So hopefully you don't drive like that too. You know, with your eyes at the front of the hood, because you're going to hit a pedestrian or something, or another car, or a dog, or something, you know. So yeah, look out ahead, just like driving on the fretboard, and hopefully nobody dies. Okay, so that is the extended, that's our number 5. We've got 2 more. This one's kind of fun because it's actually mostly based on sliding with more of a sweep added to it whenever you want to. This is something I did in the Challenge of the Day series all the way back in 2018. I don't remember which one because there's like 201 of those things. But anyway, it's in there somewhere, but it's basically this kind of thing. I had a more triplet-based thing, which is as if I didn't have it sliding already, I do like the sound of sliding up into that high note. That's the ideal way to play it, I would say. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm playing non-adjacent arpeggio tones. All right, so root 5th. So it's it's a power chord. Slide to the 3rd, play the root. So there's always a missing arpeggio tone in between the 2 notes I'm playing in each shape. 1 5, but it's actually low high low. I'm kind of doing what's a mordent, a 1 2 1 sequence here. Slide up to the 5th at the 12th fret, and hit the 3rd in the high voice. And then I slide up to the root, because it's that power chord shape again, but real tiny. But instead of coming back down to that note, I just descend my sweep. And then slide up there. Anyway, that's that shape. That's a fun one, and you can do it with kind of anything too. It's a lot of fun. Good, Mike. I'm glad to hear it, dude. Hell yeah. I look forward to it. I haven't practiced these major ones here, but anyway, all right, so that's number 6. I guess I can zoom back out here because this is not really using. I guess what I did here. Oh yeah, I will point out this is basically the shape here that I was just using. I didn't go all the way down to this note. I omitted this one, but this was this 2 notes labeled with the 2nd finger and 4th finger. That's actually my power chord notes for that high. But I bottom out right here at this 4th fret note. I'm actually not using the same fingers. I'm up high, and I found it working, I could. It's just a little bit more work on the pinky. Nothing wrong with it. I have 2 different default fingerings for this. When I get a little higher, I sometimes higher up the fretboard. I don't get high anymore. I already have that. In fact, I'm going to do it with distortion, and I don't like to do it with distortion, but I practice without a guitar amp very often, and so I kind of do stuff like I do sort of like violin chords a lot. It's like with 2-string kind of dyads. Real quick, I'm just going to mess around with this just because I think it actually can add a really nice quality to it. Let me just switch to a clean sound here. Do I have a clean sound? Yeah, that. A little bit of chorus going on there, but yeah. So I'll do that kind of thing. See, maybe my neck pickup is a... Yeah, I think the bridge pickup. So I've practiced that a lot of times too. I just like to self-harmonize my high note sometimes. One of my main guitar influences actually is like virtuoso, like classical violin. So anyway, back to this. I don't play this way when I play with distortion as a... because it sounds weird, you know, and I just lost some volume there, so it just sounds a lot dirtier, you know. So anyway, that is the next to last. I've got one more shape for you, and we got 5 more minutes. Okay, this one's a lot of fun, and this is actually something I just kind of started doing, I don't know, late last year. It's something that sort of entered my vocabulary once again because I started tackling another Bach violin partita. And there's a little pattern in here that he uses. I love it. It's in his pattern. I'll just show you what the pattern is, and then I'll see if I can butcher a piece of his piece because I don't remember how to play it anymore. But I remember the part, at least. And it is basically... so you can kind of do this... You're kind of doing the upper part of this arpeggio. Let me see here. Let me zoom back out on this. You're essentially doing like this shape here, but you're only doing the 3 notes on the highest strings. And you're actually doing a sort of like a sequence of 4 in a way, but it's sort of offset. So you do the 4. Well, let me move up a little bit so you can actually see what I'm really doing here. I'm doing this at the higher octave here, and I'm going to move down. All right, so I would do like the 1, 5, 3, go back up to the 1, pull off to the 5. All right, now let's find a 5 over here where it's the higher note. Slide, the 1 would have been here at 24. Slide down to 15. Play this note, then go back up to the high note, and then pull off to this again. So it's kind of like 3, 2, 1, 3. That's basically the sequence I'm playing. 3, 2, 1, 3. And then while I'm still here, 3, slide to 2, 1, 3. 3 notes at a time. That is 3, 2, 1, 3. 3, 2, 1, 3. 3, 2, 1, 3. 3, 2, 1. And I'm kind of mixing different arpeggios together as I go. The first 2 of them were E minor, but then I actually start moving down in thirds through the key, modulating my way over to actually harmonic minor at first. So E minor, E minor, C major, A minor, F sharp diminished, and then it's sort of actually a B7. But I'm actually throwing in the... So it's kind of a C diminished 7 at that point. I could also do a sweep. Basically, this is kind of like the last one. It's more of a sliding arpeggio pattern where at any given point I can kind of find the nearest sweep pattern as an off ramp and just take it. It's like an exit ramp. All right, so take that one. There's the C. I could get off at the A minor again. I could go get off at the F sharp. I could do like a, and finish it out as like a D7. Let's see what's below that. I could finish differently on a D as just a regular D major. could also, instead of doing a D natural, do a D sharp and make this harmonic minor similar to what I did, but actually sweep out of it a little bit, which makes it a B7. It's like a B major with an A added to it. Oh, actually, let's see. Let's count that. Skip the third, go straight to that. If you want the rhythm, again, I want this to actually be rhythmically useful. I'm not practicing to have a bunch of stuff I can't use, so I practice things with a rhythmic length in mind as I go. I'm not looking at my chat, so sorry if I'm missing some stuff. I'm going to be up for a while tonight playing these shapes. Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad, dude. I've been playing these for like 2 weeks, just playing around and trying to come up with more. Obviously, only a couple, because I came up with the crazy, that one, that whole add on to that's crazy. But yeah, there's. I love it when this kind of stuff is, you see, it's very, very made for like a neoclassical kind of style. But yeah, there's a, I'm not going to butcher the Johann Sebastian Bach piece after all, but anyway, it's in there. It's amazing, and that's where I picked it up from, and it's super, super useful because I find myself doing it a lot ever since I learned and then forgot that piece. So anyway, it's violin partita in B minor. I forget what number. It's one of the movements, and I don't remember which one either. But anyway, it's fast. It's the Presto. There's actually a great video of the violinist Hilary Hahn playing it, which I think inspired me to learn it too, because, man, she kicks ass. Check that video out after this too. You might actually pick it up in the section. It's in I think it's the second half of the piece. No, it isn't, because I didn't learn that. I only learned the A. A lot of Bach movements, like movements of his larger works, are following an A-A-B-B structure, by the way. So a little different from our A-B-A-B, verse, chorus kind of structure. You'll have one melody, one really, really long composition, which repeats, and then you'll go into another one, which repeats. So A-A-B-B. I only learned part A of that and then got overwhelmed and sidetracked and stopped. But anyway, I got a lot even out of just that first half of that movement. Anyway, that being the case, I will just reiterate one more time here. If you guys have any trouble with this, which is totally understandable because we did some, things which you saw me struggle a bit with here tonight too. It's just kind of pushing the boundaries of these. This is, my philosophy is learn how to play what you're going to use. And so I find myself just developing my shapes as I go anyway. I'm a recording artist. I don't really play live anymore. But if I was going to play live, I would do the same thing. But I'm going to start with my recording. So if you have it in you to, push your playing as far as it can possibly go, you want to be a better improviser, be more spontaneous with your playing, and be able to just do whatever, like we're talking about tonight, and just, just mess around with these kinds of concepts, but apply them in a musical way that sounds like music that came to life. Or if you want to create your own music that is recorded, because technically, until it's recorded, it sort of doesn't exist. Let's be honest here. I know that song. Where? The recording. That's where I know it from. Anyway, if you want to do any of that stuff, if you have music inside you want to get out there, you want to start releasing your own albums, but you don't know where to start and you're overwhelmed, well, let's face it, it's a very big process. I've done it 6 times myself, all by myself, and I can't wait to do it again, frankly, but it's a very, very ominous kind of undertaking. It's very, there's a lot going on there. I will coach you through it, and that is entirely what the Total Artist Development System is about. So don't forget, you can always reach out to me at ShredMentor.com. Again, if this is if any of what I just talked about, whether it's just you want to become a kick-ass guitar player, you want to become more spontaneous and understand theory and know how to apply it in any situation, you want to even create your own music that you have inside of you and get it out into the world, share it with other people, maybe even start touring, playing shows, getting fans that like you'll be the one that makes them want to play guitar next. That is all something that all of our guitar heroes have done too. And so you're not wrong. You're not, greedy or whatever, self-centered for wanting to do that, or any number of things that people around you might try to tell you to do, or that you are for wanting things that are awesome. We need people in the world who do awesome, big things. That's what the rest of us, that's the fuel for everybody else. Go after it, and I want to help you do it. Okay, so go over to ShredMentor.com right now. Tell me about the types of goals that you have, and I will put together a personalized strategy for you, and I will be coaching you along the way to make it so that you're not wasting your effort doing things in ways that are going to be counterproductive or slower than necessary, so you can get to your goals and start experiencing music the way you always really wanted to a lot sooner. So that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Mike, thanks for joining me in the chat, man. It was good to see you again, and I hope to hear from you again soon. That's it for tonight, though, and I hope to see you guys next Tuesday for our next episode of ShredMentor Live. I'm your host, Jason Aaron Wood, and that's it for tonight. Rock on, guys.